I was listening to Osho on Buddha's Sutra because he has spoken in Hindi. So I felt that I should share it with you. These are beautiful, wonderful sutras of Buddha, though very simple. But truth is simple. We are complex. The more simple we are, the more obvious truth will be. The more complex we are, truth seems to be something very complex, something unreachable. But it is because of our lust, our desire, our trembling mind, that we are not able to see that which is. The more innocent you are, the more clearly you can see things as it is. Because we are mad, running for things, so we are not able to see who we are, what I am. So the first sutra of today was for those who are awake, the night becomes very long. If you are not able to sleep, for you the night will look very long. For those who are sleeping, night is just very, very small. They are asleep, and when they awake, they are not aware that any time has passed. So it is all relative. It depends on your state, your inner state. The outside world is not there outside, it is within you. Whatever is your inner state, the outside thing becomes like that. The second sutra was that for those who are tired, the distance becomes very long. Miles become very long. If you are going to see your beloved or your lover, the same distance will look very small because you are enthusiastic. You are full of passion. You are happy, you are joyful that you are going to meet her. But when you are tired, when you are just negative, when there is no hope, I am not meaning that hope. When you are full of complaints, then the same distance becomes very long when you are full of complaints. Those who are tired, for them, the distance becomes very long. The way becomes very long. The mile seems unending. So it is all relative. If you are very enthusiastic, if you are full of positivity, if you are full of hope, if you are going to meet your beloved, then the same distance looks very small. But when you are tired, when you are pessimist, when you are hopeless, and when you are full of complaints and you are just complaining that there is nothing in life, then if you are traveling, the same distance will look as if it is unending. So it is all relative. It depends on your inner state. If your inner state is clean, then you can see things as it is. If you are innocent, then you are able to see things as it is. So, just to understand this, it is all relative. And Einstein was asked many times to explain his theory of relativity. And he used to say that it is very difficult, it is very complex. And it is said that when Einstein was alive, there were only 12 people who could understand it. But finally, Einstein found a way to explain it to laymen. He said that when your enemy comes to your house and he stays there for 1 hour, it looks like as if it is unending. But if your beloved comes, even many hours look as if it is just a moment has passed. Time disappears almost. So it all depends on your inner state. Whatever you are seeing on the outside, it is all your projection. When you are full of lust, when you are full of greed, when you are full of desire, stones becomes precious stone. Coal becomes diamond. So the value which is in these things, diamond or gold or anything, it's all given by us. Not that the value is there. For animals, it has no value. But we can kill each other for diamond or gold. It's like when you are full of desire for precious stone, you can see things which is not even there. You can see from a distance when the sunlight is reflected on some stone, you think that this must be a diamond or some precious stone. And your heartbeat becomes very fast and you run for it. And then when you reach there and you see that it was just an ordinary stone, there was nothing in it. It was all your desire that you were projecting something in it which was not there at all. But even when you see some precious stone or diamond, the value is given to it by you. There was an old Indian king, ancient Indian king, very famous. His name is Bhartrihari. So this man has lived a very complete life. Once he was a moralist. So he wrote a book, Niti Shatakam. And there is talk about morality. And then he was a man full of indulgence, full of experiencing all that your sense organ can experience. Wine and woman and everything else, everything which everyone is lusting for. Then he wrote a book, Shringar Shatakam. And it is said that there has been no book written about the beauties of life, about the things which you can experience, the outside world and it all those things which excites your sense organ. Because he wrote this book based on his own experience, so it has the weight, the strength which those who are just intellectual, mere intellectual, when they write, it will not have that strength. So, and then finally, he, after indulging for very, very long time, out of his experience, he realized that this is all futile, right? And he gave up everything. Not even he gave up, it all was gone and no trace was left. And he fulfilled what is written in Upanishad. Ten takte na punjita. Only those who have indulged, only those who have experienced, only they can renounce. If you want to renounce, first you need to experience. Only then renunciation will be natural. It will happen on its own. There is no need to give up, no need to force yourself to give up something. When you have experienced it totally with your awareness, then one day you will realize these are all futile. So when he has renounced everything and he went to meditate in the forest. He became a seeker of truth. He wanted to know his inner truth. He has experienced whatever was outside. Now he wanted to know what is inside him. So he was sitting on a stone in a forest. And then he saw that he heard some sound of two horses running. So he opened his eyes and he saw that two men on horse were coming, rushing towards something. Then he saw that there was a very sparkling diamond. He saw that the diamond was so big and so beautiful that he had never seen such kind of diamond, though he was a king himself and he had known so many kind of diamond. And immediately the desire arose to go for it. And just next moment he realized that I have known so many diamonds and what it has given to me is just nothing. It was all poisonous. It all became poisonous. It all became bitter, all these worldly experience. So then the desire subsided. So within him, in a moment, he experienced the whole world. The world arose and it disappeared. The desire was born and then the desire died. But then he saw that these two horsemen, they put their sword on that stone, on that diamond. They said that I have seen it first. Both of them were claiming I have seen it first. So now how it can be decided? So they put their sword on each other's chest and they died. So in one moment, these people were full of desire and they killed each other for a thing which knew nothing about them. You ask the diamond, it doesn't even know that they have killed each other for it. So it all depends on what you are giving value to. So at the center is your consciousness. The more asleep you are, the more asleep you are, the more valuable this outside world will look to you. The more your consciousness expands, the world starts shrinking. And if your consciousness has shrunken, then this world becomes very big and you feel like you're trapped in it. It has all the control, it is controlling you. You are bound from all the sides. The whole world looks like postnik, how you can cross it. It is so vast. But as your consciousness become more powerful, as you become centered in your consciousness, the world start becoming less and less. So the third sutra of Buddha is those who are unaware of the inner laws of existence, those who don't know the Saddharma, the dharma of things, the dharma, the nature, your inner nature, for them this world becomes very big. It becomes very vast and they are fettered by it. But those who know their inner nature, their inner dharma, for them this world starts disappearing and one day it disappears. And when Buddha is talking about Saddharma, he is not talking about any religion, any particular religion, that if you follow this religion. He's talking about the laws of existence. And it is not that there is some God sitting somewhere and he is deciding everything. You are doing wrong things, so he will give you punishment. If you are doing right thing, he will reward you. It is just the existence as a law. And this law, if you follow the law, you will be happy, you will be blissful. If you go against the law, you will suffer. So you have to discover this law, which Krishna says, Swadharme Nidanam Shreya, Pardharmo Bhayavah. In trying to find your inner nature, it is auspicious to die for it, but never accept the nature of other things or other people. You have to find out it within you. And you have to surrender to that nature. Once you know it, there is no need to surrender. It will happen on its own. So that is the meaning of Buddha's sutra, Appadipo Bhava. Be your own light. No one can give this light to you from outside. You have to find it within you, and it is a arduous path. You have to give up everything for this. If you think that you can live in a dream world and you can know the truth also, it is not going to happen. But for that, there is nothing to give up. You have become mature. The more mature you are, the more less important the world will become for you. Is it clear?
So another sutra of Buddha, the next one, the fourth one, which I don't remember exactly, but it is like, if you are not able to find a master or someone who is higher than you, you should travel alone. It is better to travel alone than to be with fools, or to be with someone who is lower than you. Because those who are lower in consciousness than you, will most probably drag you down, because they are very stubborn about it. And your journey is new. You are very, very vulnerable. You can be easily distracted and taken down. So there is only two ways. Either they are going to come up with you, to travel with you, or you will go back with them. But they are like frozen stones, unmoving stones. Most probably they are not going to come with you. So you should find a master, or if you are not able to get a master, then you should find someone who is higher than you, or at least equal to you. Otherwise, it is good to be on your own, alone. Because ultimately, this is going inside you. So one day you will be alone here. In meditation, you cannot take anyone. When you are reaching to the depth of meditation, you will find yourself totally alone there. So one has to prepare from the very beginning. You want to ask some question?
Why do I find it hard to hear like negative comments on myself, like criticisms? Why do I find it hard to accept, Swami?
Because of your addiction, your habit of listening to praises. When someone praises you, your ego is nourished. And anyone who is unconscious, his only treasure is his ego, the dark and sick ego. So only when your ego is nourished, you feel you are somebody. Otherwise, you are just a nobody. And this has become a habit, an addiction, that you want praise. And it is so good it is so nourishing for the ego, that when someone is praising you, you feel so good. Because you are so identified with your ego, with your body mind. And all the praise are directed to your body mind. No praises is directed towards your consciousness. Consciousness is complete in itself. It needs no praise. No one can add anything to it by praising or by criticizing. So the more distant you are from your center, the more you will be seeking others people's praise. The more you are nearer to yourself, the less you will be affected by whatever others are saying about you. This only means you are unconscious. So it is good that people are criticizing you, condemning you. So they are the mirror. They can show you where you are, how much you have traveled. So the moment you are condemned and you start feeling affected by it, you should turn in. If it is possible, you should close your eyes and see what is happening inside. And when you are aware of your real nature, nothing ever touches it. So, the more you are centered in your real nature, the less you are affected and the less you will desire praise or. And when people are praising you, they are reducing you into their slave. No one is praising anyone for no reason. There is always reason for praising. They are buttressing your ego so that they can use you. So once you have understood the game, then you will become more alert when people are praising you. When people are criticizing you, maybe they are more genuine, they are more real, they are more authentic. But only those who are clever and foxy, they praises you because they want to exploit you. They want to use you for their own purpose. They want to make a slave of you. Is it clear?
Yes, clear for me.
If you like our videos, don't forget to like, share and subscribe.
And send us one apple a day because we want to eat food from the tree of knowledge.